watchman's path between two worlds. There are those placed on a long and lonely road, marked by a life of hardship and seasons of isolation. This is not a mistake, it is a deliberate preparation. The time spent in isolation trains the spirit to survive the moments of being entirely alone. By the time the world pulls away, these individuals remain standing because they have already learned how to be whole in the silence. 1 Peter 5:10. And after you have suffered a little while, the God of all grace, who has called you to his eternal glory in Christ, will himself restore, confirm, strengthen, and establish you. Suffering and isolation are the tools God uses to establish a person. One cannot speak to a world they are still dependent on. The lonely road breaks the dependency on man, so that the focus remains solely on the Word. Because the world is silent about sin, some are called to speak of it. However, it is understood that one cannot simply put a finger in someone's chest to tell them they are wrong to avoid being merely judgmental. With the kindness of art, stories, quotes, and songs, this gives people the option to stop reading or listening. It provides the truth while respecting free will, ensuring the correctness of the Bible is put forth without force. If the wrong is never corrected, the right can never be brought forth. Ezekiel 33:6. But if the watchman sees the sword coming and does not blow the trumpet, so that the people are not warned, his blood I will require at the watchman's hand. This confirms the duty to speak by using stories and songs. The trumpet is blown. The sound is clear, but the choice to listen belongs to the people. Society measures worth by a full-time job. But there are people who deal with mental illness or limitations that make that impossible. Work can only be done in short segments. For these individuals, volunteering is a vital lifeline. It provides a sense of worth and allows them to be God's hands and feet to help others through words, the mind, or physical strength in the capacity they have. 1 Peter 4:10. As each has received a gift, use it to serve one another, as good stewards of God's varied grace. God's grace is varied, it is not one size fits all. A short segment of service given out of a struggle is just as valuable in God's eyes as a lifetime of labor from someone who has no struggle at all. Many feel like a rope in a game of tug-of-war. On one side, God leads down a specific narrow road. On the other side, man's world tries to pull toward a version of normal. They think they are helping by leading toward society's ways, but they are actually harming by causing confusion. This human kindness is a tool the devil uses to pull a person off their path. Often these people are more worried about being seen as kind than they are about the truth of a divine calling. Galatians 1:10. For am I now seeking the approval of man or of God? Or am I trying to please man? If I were still trying to please man, I would not be a servant of Christ. This is the resolution of the struggle. Much of what the world calls kindness is actually a demand to please men. When the concern for mankind's labels is cast aside, even when others claim the leading is wrong, there is finally freedom to follow the direction God has placed in the heart. The individual is no longer torn apart by the pull of two worlds. One world uses a false kindness to lead into the dark. The other uses isolation to lead into the light. The day comes where what mankind says no longer matters. The path is determined by the feeling of being led in God's direction. The work of the watchman continues, speaking the truth through art and serving in segments, standing firm on the road,